Welcome back to Still a Part of Us. We are privileged to talk to Jinu and Gibin, who are the parents of Jayden. We just had a wonderful conversation, and I'm going to be honest. It was hard to hear his story and just how much love they have for him, and it's wonderful to hear that kind of love, like I said, for a son. But welcome back again. Thank you so much for your time today.
Oh my gosh.
As a point of reference, can you tell us a little bit about Jayden and what happened to him and when he was born?
So Jayden was our third pregnancy after two girls, 5 and 7 years old. He was born on the 17th of November 2022, and he was born via emergency C-section. He lived with us for 15 weeks and he passed away on the 2nd of March 2023, which is now almost 7 months
Mhm.
since. And the current diagnosis, we are still awaiting for the final
Mhm.
report, but provisionally, they're thinking it's SIDS.
Thank you for that, and I would if you have not listened to their story, I and Jayden's story, I would highly recommend that. That was a we don't have often stories of SIDS or infant deaths, and so this is I think these are important to discuss because you guys are you're dealing with a totally different grief, totally something that's very foreign to me, and I hope to never have to experience. But I wanted to start out first discussing what has the grief look like for you in that first little bit, maybe the first month or two, because he passed away on the 2nd of March. He was buried at the end of March. I think the 28th, I think is what you had mentioned. So, how did that first month look like as you guys were mourning and preparing for his funeral?
So initially, my body was in shock.
Yeah.
I couldn't fully understand what was going on. I knew that he was no more, but my brain took some time to accept that he's no more. I was completely out of myself. Initially, I should say that we were pretty much busy because a lot of people came to our house trying to pray for us, comforting. We had a lot of visitors.
Yeah.
And so we were kind of distracted. But after his funeral, there was fewer number of visitors,
Yeah.
fewer families that stayed around. And it got to a point that it was just the four of us back again. And that was hard. I would say that grief for me at the time really hit in after his funeral.
Mhm.
For my children, it was a period that they lost their own brother, the little brother, and also a day that they lost their mother too.
Yeah.
I was struggling to look after the girls. I'm lucky I had my husband who took care of all of us.
Yeah.
But from a mother's point of view, for that moment of time, I was just Jaden's mommy. I wasn't a wife. I wasn't a mother to my other children. I was just Jaden's mommy. And I lost my child. And that's all that mattered to me at
Yeah.
the time. I couldn't even have a conversation with my children. I couldn't dress them up to school. I couldn't feed them. I couldn't be a mother at the time.
For anybody that might think, "Wow, how could she ignore her other children?" I'm gonna just say the singularity of your brain to focus on that grief and grief does funny things to you where you really just cannot function. I couldn't function, so I totally understand where you're coming from. Just like, this is all that's important right now.
But the girls they were really brave. They were
Yeah.
trying to console me,
Yeah.
the mother,
Yeah.
which is usually in any other situation, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
But in this case, they were consoling me. Mommy, it's okay. You can cry. Um, my youngest told me once, Mommy, don't worry. You're a special mommy. That's why you had a baby like Jaden.
Oh.
He's a special baby. That's why he's with Jesus.
Oh.
It's from a 5-year old. So
Yeah.
Then I feel,
Sometimes you think, oh, well, she's talking.
yeah, and
Film
she's
that
only
was, yeah.
5, and yeah,
Wow.
so hearing things like that make me happy, but only for a moment of time,
Yeah.
and I'm gone back to zero again.
And also, I think the 2nd of March, like due to everything, they were quiet, they were understandable. And then after 2 weeks, they just, when we were together, they just come and asked me, like, can you explain me what happened on that day?
Yes,
Oh,
it took them 2 weeks to
Yeah.
ask. Like I said in the previous
yeah.
conversation, both of them didn't ask me or him what's happened to the baby.
Yeah.
And after 2 weeks, they were like, "Can you explain to me what's happened?" And we kind of told them what happened to him, what we think happened to him.
Yeah. Mhm.
We highlighted the fact that we don't know exactly because nobody's seen what's happened to
Mhm.
him. He was on his own. And then questions started coming. So, what's going to happen to his body? Why is he cold?
Yeah.
Uh, who's going to feed him? Who's going to change
Huh.
his diaper? So, how far is it to heaven? And things like that. I couldn't answer all of that.
Yeah.
It was disturbing me. I don't know what to, and I've never come across that situation before. I don't know how to speak about death to children.
Yeah.
Another question I remember, she asked me, you both are nurses. Why don't you serve your
Child,
child?
why didn't you? You're nurses. You're supposed to save lives. Why didn't you save Jayden? And that really touched us. And me, as a grieving mother, that's enough for me to cry for the next 2 days.
Yeah. I would be I'd be a wreck.
Because initial stages, I'm blaming myself. I'm blaming myself that I didn't stay with him whilst he was sleeping. I did it. I'm just feeling guilty for that. I didn't stay with him.
Yeah.
Why didn't I just raise the concerns again more that something could have been done with regards to his disturbed breathing? Why didn't I just, make a firm decision that this needs to be done? Why didn't I just shout at them? And
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah, there's always this, "I should have done this. I should have done this. I should have." You can it's so easy to get into that spiral of thought of blaming and, you shoulda, coulda, woulda done all of these things, in hindsight, like you said. Many times you're like, "Yeah, when we look back, I can see maybe that we something was
this,
different. I should have done something," and
yes,
I yeah, that's a tricky spot to be in as a grieving parent.
yes.
Jibin, can you tell me about that first little while? I know we talked briefly that my husband, who I love very much, was my rock during those first few months where I was, like I said, not in my right mind. And it sounds like you did plenty of taking care of Jinu and your kids. Can you tell us how that was for that first month or two and how you navigated that?
The first, like when he passed away, I was more focused on Gino. So I was thinking like she gonna do something stupid thing. So I was behind her. Every time when she go upstairs, I follow her, and even when she go to toilet, I follow her because I was 24/7 watching her. I had a feeling like she gonna do something stupid thing. Anyway, so that was what I was doing, and then I realized the girls they need to look after as well. So you know, by the time before the funeral, my mom came from India.
Okay.
Yeah, so my mom was here. So then I had a bit of
Support.
Yeah.
support, and I was more concentrating on girls. I know Ginu is not focusing on girls, so because I've got my girls, so I need to focus. I think the girls give me strength,
True.
and that's it. So I was looking after them, feeding them. Otherwise, nobody else look after them.
Yeah.
Um, every day we go to church, and then straight after the church, we go to the cemetery. this is like our routine stuff for like 4 or 5 months
Mhm.
every day. So because we're waking up in the morning to send the kids to the school and the church,
Yeah.
so we got a plan. So we need to see, we need to be there like in cemetery. So we need to be to the church. So that's the first thing. Morning section is that.
Yeah.
After doing that, we were thinking like, yeah, we need to focus. At least when we go to church, we get some peace, and then we try to meet another different priest,
Okay.
and, and then also we asked help for. There's a couple of nuns in our church,
Mhm.
so we asked help to talk to their kids. So like
Oh,
they got so many questions. So we can't even though we answered them, they back to zero. They asked me the same question again next
yeah.
day.
Yeah.
We know that religious something completely different that we use. We never used to be religious before. We were
Mhm.
just Sunday Christians, I should
Yeah.
say, or Christmas Christians. That's
Yes.
all.
Yeah. Mhm.
But since Jaden's incident, we have completely gone into the religious path. We It kind of gives us hope. It kind of gives us the strength to stand up.
Yeah.
So since then, the major changes are that we started going to church more every day. We our main priority focus changed from our fun life into a more religious life, because if you believe the scientific facts, life just ended there.
Yeah.
And to me, that doesn't make sense. I don't want to believe in that. I want to meet my baby, and religion tells me that there is an afterlife. We're all going to go there. We're going to meet him.
Yeah.
And that's we are firm believers of that now. So, yes.
Yes. I would agree with you on that. Is that faith? Well, our faith changed also after we lost our son, because there's hope in that, and I have faith in that as well. And I I think it's kind of a lovely routine that you have of getting the girls ready and then going to the church. I just think that visiting Jayden, I think that's a important thing to have that as part of your family rhythm.
Routine.
It sounds like, yeah, rhythm and routine. So obviously those first few months are I think they're so hard and a blur. I think it's such a blur where you just don't know what's happening from one day to the next. And that's hard, especially for each of you. I know that Jibin, you supported Junu a lot in those first few months. What are some things that you have done as a couple to try and help you support each other in your grief?
So we started traveling
Mm,
within the first second month since he was gone. We just started traveling because it came to a point that we just realized as a family that the moment we enter this house, it's not looking good. And when we're out and about, we're fine. We can manage the day-to-day tasks.
yeah,
As soon as we enter, we see his swing there, his pushchair there, his clothes, his toys, and it doesn't make sense that he's not here.
yeah,
So, and I couldn't do that. I couldn't just stay in this house for long periods of time. So we started traveling. We been to Rome,
It, it,
Vatican,
yeah, it's not like holiday. It's just a
like a
somewhere
pilgrimage somewhere
pilgrimage.
nice,
yeah,
somewhere peaceful. We've never thought that we'll have a holiday or a vacation abroad, and that's going to be a pilgrimage. We never thought we would do that in our
yeah,
lifetime. So, but life brings us here. God brought us here, and yes, so we've been to Lords. So that was traveling has made us move on a little bit
yeah,
because otherwise we are just stuck on the 2nd of March.
yeah.
So
It's always interesting having a change of scenery because I've talked to several people that after they lost their child, then they ended up going on a trip. just
Yes.
once again, that change of scenery. So you're correct. Like you are seeing all of his stuff there and you don't want to get rid of it, but you're also, it's a reminder all the time, it feels like, of how he's not there.
Yes.
Another thing I would say, on 30th April was Gino's birthday. So I know she's not gonna celebrate that. But when we went to Italy, we were in a convent. We had an accommodation in convent
With
Mhm.
the nuns.
with the
Oh,
nuns.
mhm.
For the security purpose, we sent a photocopy of our passports details. So the superior mother,
Mhm.
she just had a look at it and then she realized, oh, 1st of April is her birthday.
30th of
Oh, sorry, yeah, 30th of April. Yeah, sorry, I'm very bad with the numbers. Yeah, so they give us a surprise cake, and
Oh,
yeah,
Yes.
so
I wasn't planning on celebrating at all. It was just not my birthday that day at all.
yeah.
Didn't look like my birthday at all. But that evening, the angels, I should call them,
yeah,
the angels, and yeah, they surprised me with a cake,
and
happy birthday singing.
they told us Jayden sent
This
Oh,
this.
gift. Just imagine that Jayden sent this.
that is so sweet. I that is really sweet. It's interesting you say that because there's a very sometimes it feels like there's no reason to celebrate anymore. And for them to do that, I think that's a nice way to just like have a little bit of joy
Yeah.
in your day, in your travel. That's pretty cool that you've been able to have that change of scenery.
So many gifts after that.
Yes.
So we believe Jayden's giving us.
Yeah, I think that's great. That's really cool that you're kind of feeling him close. I am wondering, with your girls, how do you guys? I know that they ask questions about kind of constantly of like what happened to him and where is he at and where is heaven and those types of things. What do you guys do as a family to remember him or to talk about him? Do you try to talk about him on a regular basis in your home?
Yes. He's still part of us. I think more than us, the girls talk about him,
Oh, really?
and we've told them that Jaden's watching us,
Mhm.
watching you guys. He's protecting you.
Mhm.
So they kind of started, praying, and they, instead of praying to Jesus, they're like, Jayden, can you ask Jesus to? So
Oh,
it's more of a protector.
yeah.
So we told the girls that, do you know how you used to look after your little brother? You don't need to look after him anymore, but he's going to look after you.
Yeah.
So that's kind of reassured them that he's still around and
Yes.
seeing things that they do. So, and it's kind of, I wanted it to be like that because I wanted him to be part of us,
Yes.
even if he's not here.
Yeah.
And I want the girls to remember him. I want us to be normal that way. I
Yeah.
want us to get used to the fact that he's no more, but he's still with us, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yes. Very much. Like I feel like once you're that, like you said, that family of five, you're still a family of five.
Yes.
He might not be here physically, but he's still very much a part of your family, your family unit, and I think that is your identity too. And so I think it's great that you guys talk about him and his
He's,
watching over the girls. I think that's so sweet.
he's part of our daily activities. We talk about him all the time. Just in random conversations, the girls bring up his topic, and or if Jayden was here, do you think he would be this size? He would be
Oh,
that size. Do you think he will fit in this clothes anymore? Do you think he's
oh,
grown out of it? So we're trying to, as a family, I think we're trying to imagine that he is almost 7, 8 months old,
yeah.
or he's 7 months old.
Hmm.
We're going according to his age.
Yeah.
So in our day-to-day conversations, he is definitely part of it.
Yeah.
He lived all his life with us.
We
Yes.
were we were
Yeah,
expecting us to live all our life with our son
Yeah.
or our children, but it's turned out the other way. He's lived all of his life with us.
Yeah. That is like a really kind of it's sad to think about that, but it's also very reassuring too to feel like, yeah, he just knew how much a home of love and a home of family. I think that is a beautiful thought too. Even though it's just like, oh yeah, there's a twinge of like he shouldn't have gone this early, but it's also very reassuring as well. I like to ask this question. This is my personal, I think it's kind of an interesting one because people are always asking, what can I do if they know somebody that is going to face something similar? I always like to ask, what was helpful? What has been helpful that people have done for you throughout this? And also, on the other hand, what has not been helpful, or what are some things that are not as helpful to say to somebody that is grieving a child? And you have a very unique situation in the sense that you guys don't have answers. You this was very yeah, this was out of the blue. He was born generally he was okay when he was born and
Generally, he was okay.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, happy boy and everything. And so what are some things like I said are were helpful that people did and said and things that maybe not so helpful or things that maybe consider waiting saying these types of things or doing these types of things so that the parents can kind of catch up to their grief and handle it on a little bit later in the future.
I personally think that people are don't have the awareness of what goes through a grieving parent, and it's not their fault. It's
Yes.
because they've not experienced that grief before, and so I wouldn't blame them.
Hmm.
But it is hard. It is really hard to explain. But I think if someone has gone through the child's death or they are a grieving parent, I found those people very helpful in my situation. I feel like I can connect to them. I feel
Hmm.
like we're in the same page. You understand me? That's really great.
Yeah.
I found that, some of the friends, families, I feel like they don't really understand what you're going through. Maybe because of obviously they've not have had that personal experience. Yeah, so I found many situations. I found that it's actually distressed me more than a support. I mean, they try and do all they can to support us
Hmm.
in all good intentions.
Yes.
Whatever they say, whatever they do, I understand that. But according to like situation like what we're going through, it wasn't the best.
Yeah.
I found that talking to other moms who's lost a child was really helpful because to me initially I didn't know what I would be like. I didn't know what this grief is going to be like. Um, so I asked, a couple of my friends. They had no idea, and one of well, she was a stranger to me, but we met through a mutual friend.
Hmm.
She lives in Canada, so she's reached out to me since
Yeah.
hearing the story.
Yeah.
She got connected to me, and that was really nice. And she's obviously had this experience 5 years ago, so she's kind of moved on since. She had other children.
Yeah.
I found that asking her, like, how did you manage this? How did you? It's kind of reassuring me that I'm not wrong here.
Yeah.
I'm doing the right thing for myself. And this is what any other grieving parent would do. So it's kind of reassured me that I'm normal. Because it got to a point I kind of thought, am I supposed to be this sad? Am I supposed to be moody all the
Yeah.
time? Because the society, the community makes you feel like, right, it's been 2 months. You need to just get over it. You need to
Y-
just move on.
Yeah.
And at the time, I didn't have the courage to kind of say, "You don't know what you're going through. You don't know what I'm going through. You don't understand." I just stayed quiet. But now I have the courage to kind of say that this is me and this
Yes.
is my grief. You
Yeah.
have no idea what's going on in my mind,
Mhm.
what's going on in my heart. So yeah, it's for grieving parents. It's expectant that you will come across some kind of situation that really hurts you. You feel like people don't understand you,
Mhm.
or people just take it like, I don't know, like a simple thing. But
Yes.
whereas what you're asking me to get over with is my child.
Yes.
my living child, you
Yes.
know.
Mhm.
Compassion was the biggest factor, I think, that was lacking in our
Mm.
case. And I'm not blaming them. I just, I'm just telling my feelings of
Yeah.
how I think, what I've experienced.
When you mentioned this person that you got in contact with from Canada, and she was a little farther out, it's so funny because I thought about that as well. I was like, yeah, it's nice to have somebody else to say what you're going through is completely normal. Like, how much you're crying and how much you are what that grief looks like, and it's nice to have somebody that has, in a sense, paved the way ahead of you so that you feel like you can stand up in your own right. Like you said, you could stand up for how you are feeling, how your grief is manifesting itself. I will second that of just like having somebody that has gone before and saying, "It's okay. This is completely normal and you do you," kind of a thing. So, um
She's kind of made me realize that the grief, it will still be there in the
mhm.
same size and form, but your world will just kind of get bigger
Yeah.
in due course.
Yeah.
So that was helpful
Yeah.
to hope that there will be a light at the end of the tunnel,
Yeah.
because initially there was just darkness.
That's beautiful. I really like that. How about you, Jibin? Anything that you found to be very helpful or not so helpful in this 7 months? I know 7 months is nothing compared to this is so still very new and very raw and hard, I suspect, for everyone.
The first 1 or 2 months,
Mhm.
I was thinking like looking for something. There is something like, oh, Jayden is safe, or I need something, some vision or something. Need I can just connect, things.
Yes.
But I've seen a lot of people have people come to our house, and so many things, so many people, talked differently. But just to be just one or two, I still remember the words. They just told like a small story. They said, Jaden has come from heaven, okay,
Jayden's come from God.
from
So
God. So he saw all the angels in there. So when you were away, when you were sleeping, the angels come to him, and they were laughing, and they just um,
playing with him.
playing with him. So when they call him, and he go with them. So you live with them like 3 months. So he just gone with them. That's normal.
I think that lady has tried to say
Oh,
something around like, he's just known you guys for 3 months, but he's come from God and he knows that he's familiar to those people more than you. So he's been called and he's gone. It's familiar.
Mhm.
They are familiar to him more than us. So he's gone. And just imagine that he's happy and he's playing around with his friends. And I said to her, you just told me the story like you're telling a nursery child a little story, and
Mhm.
it's touching.
it is touching. Yeah,
It is
it's
touching. I
touching.
never thought of that.
Mhm.
I've always, imagined that he's had a painful death. He's probably
Yeah.
had, he's upset now. He's struggled. That's as a mother
Yeah.
that really hurts me that he struggled.
Yeah.
And the other way around, thinking the other way around was challenging. I said, how is that possible? So he can be happy as well. I, I can't just imagine that he's sad, he's
He's sad.
struggling.
Yeah.
If he's happy,
Yeah.
he's not struggling anymore.
Yeah.
So that actually it touched us, even though it's a little story that, but yeah, it meant a lot to us at that time.
Yeah.
We still remember people like that.
Yeah. That give you just a little bit of,
Yeah.
comfort of him, yeah, like you said, not struggling, but being something almost opposite of just it's not
Yes.
sadness, there's a little bit of happiness there.
Yes.
Some people are really helpful, but some of them I don't know what to tell. Make you make you worried, and
Mhm. Yes.
I personally think if you don't know what to say, just keep quiet. You know,
Yeah.
I'd really
as
appreciate if
yeah,
people come and visit and just, don't say anything, that's fine.
Yeah.
Rather than say something and it hurts us. It's, some people came to our house to visit us and they're just like, it's okay, don't worry, you'll just have other children. And I'm just like, I don't know what to say to these people.
Yes.
And for, mothers who are going through the same, please expect that. You
Yeah.
will hear lots of
Mhm.
comments. I think that's just how the world is.
Yeah. They're so quick to kind of find a solution, right? Like it would be a Band-Aid pregnancy or, you know, a replacement child. You're like, "No, no,
Yeah,
that's
it's not
not
a
not
replacement
no,
child. Or
no,
no. Jayden
not
is
one bit."
Jayden. He's got his identity.
Yes. I appreciate that you guys are religious and have a kind of a longer view of eternity, I guess, of what will happen after this life. I am wondering, do you feel him nearby? Do you feel like he's part of your family? Do you feel his presence with you?
That's a good question. For the first 2 or 3 months, we never felt his presence. I've heard other mothers say, I could feel him at the funeral, I could feel his presence, or they know that the child is around.
Mhm.
But I was like, I can't feel anything. It's just empty. My house is empty, and my heart is just empty. So after the first 3 months, we've obviously been to the Vatican. We we prayed, and we prayed at the St. Peter's Basilica, and
Mhm.
I said, "You need to give me a baby." I said it to Jesus. You need to give me a baby, and it has to be before his first anniversary. That's my intention. And I prayed, and I prayed. We started trying for a baby straight away within
Mhm.
the first month. We've had, a couple of negative tests, and a lot of, we consulted doctors, the bereavement team. They were just telling me that, your body's in shock. You might not conceive within the
Yeah.
first year at all.
Yeah.
Most grieving parents, they conceive after the first year,
Mhm.
or second year, or they might struggle with fertility issues due to
Yes.
stress.
Mhm.
We were given all these information, but we prayed. That was our only hope. And the fourth month, um, in fact, yeah, end of the fourth month, we got a positive pregnancy test.
Oh,
Yes, we're pregnant. I feel like God is gracious. He is really doing lots of miracles in our lives.
yeah.
The very first 2 or 3 months, we were running after the cause of his death, cause of Jayden's death.
Mhm.
We couldn't find any answers. We were struggling, but indeed, we were given answers in other ways, by other people, by other situations. And the most miraculous part of this whole story is that the estimated due date, falls on the 2nd of March, 2020,
Really?
which is his first anniversary in
Yeah.
heaven.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not the 3rd of March, it's not the 1st of March. It had to be the 2nd of March.
Wow.
And people think, this is not possible. There's no chance, it is possible in our case. According to my menstrual period date, that I got 2nd of March. We've been to our first scan. It is still the 2nd of March.
The
There's
2nd of
no
March.
changes.
Yeah.
It is reassuring us that what else can this be?
Yeah.
What else can this be? That yes, we've lost a child, we're getting another. It's not a replacement baby, but it's our baby, and that's all that matters. Jayden is always going to be Jayden. There's nobody can replace him. But yes, so that's how we felt his presence for the first time,
Wow. Yeah.
and we firmly believe that it is a gift of Jayden. Nobody else can do that.
Yeah.
According to science, I'm not even supposed to conceive within the first year. This is a miracle, a rainbow baby.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think Jayden, no, we need to hold somebody.
Yeah.
So save us.
I struggled, I'll be honest, I struggled when we had our son after our loss, and how do I tell? tell my new little son, my little rainbow baby, about his older brother that he's never going to meet. I guess what are you going to tell this new baby that's going to be coming?
I think the baby will gradually know by our conversations, by our day to day lives. He's still with us. And no matter if we have another child, it's going to be part of our life anyway. So I think baby will get to know, will grow knowing Jayden. And I'm sure about that. I'm 100% sure about that. Me as a mother and Jibin as a father, we will, even if we don't directly tell the baby will know. We're sure of that.
Thank you so much. This has been such a wonderful conversation. I am so sorry that you are in the throes of this. This is like so early still. So I appreciate you being honest and frank with me about how it's been. Is there any last little bit of advice you would like to share with anybody or anything you wanted to say about Jayden too?
I think the most important person that it needs to be shared with is our rainbow baby. We've got a little message for him. I am sure that once the baby is a bit older, Jayden will be known to the child.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much again. You guys are wonderful and I appreciate your time so much. And thank you for sharing Jayden with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for
Thank you
having
so
us.
much.
Oh,
Thank you, Vicky.
yes. You're welcome.
Thank you for your time.
Dear Emmanuel, hi baby, it's me, your mum. Today, I want to tell you the story of how you came to be. It's a special story because you changed our lives forever. We've only known you for a little while, but it's been the best days of our lives. I hope you always know how much Mum, Dad, Angelina, and Amaya loves you, wanted you, and waited for you. You're our dream come true and the answer to so many prayers. Emmanuel, to start from the beginning, before you, there was another baby. His name is Jayden, and he's your older brother. He was our third pregnancy, and Mum and Dad were so happy when we found out about him as a sweet surprise in 2022. He was born on November the 17th, 2022, and lived with us for 15 wonderful weeks. And he brought so much joy to so many people. He was special. He had the brightest smile in the world. He also had a heart-shaped left earlobe, which I've never seen on anyone else before. He taught your sisters all the responsibilities of a big sister and also a bit of the motherhood which they automatically learned. We were so happy that our family was complete, and we were even ready for vasectomy. We made so many appointments, and for one reason or the other, all of them got cancelled without good reasons. We didn't know God's plan was something else. One cold afternoon on the 2nd of March 2023, we found out he passed away in his sleep. Emmanuel, it was the hardest thing we've ever gone through. It was the most scariest day in Mommy and Daddy's lives. As I held Jayden's tiny lifeless body in my arms, I wondered what I was going to do with my heart that was swelling with love for him. Where would it go? I had to wake up one day without a baby next to me. It was the day I lost my son and the day I lost myself. I felt so empty inside. I felt like I don't have the energy to face the world anymore. Seeing your sister's grief was even worse than my own. The days and nights were hard for a long time. Staying in the same town, in the same house, without my baby was the worst part out of all. Initial days, we were running after the reasons of his death. There was no answers, but God sustained us. We came closer to God. Eventually, we stopped running after the reasons behind his death. Instead, we were given answers to our questions by numerous events in our life over many months. But Emmanuel, through the grief, we still wanted to have another baby. We prayed at the Basilica of St. Peter's in Vatican for a baby to be in my arms before his first anniversary. The bereavement team, doctors, and clinical staff informed me that my body is in shock and may not conceive in the first year at all. We prayed and waited. And within 4 months, God blessed us with a pregnancy. It was you. God gave me laughter one day. He was so gracious. The most miraculous part of the story is that the estimated due date falls on the 2nd of March 2024, which is the same day of Jayden's first anniversary in heaven. I feel like you are Jayden's gift, sent from God. Emmanuel, you are a rainbow baby, just like a rainbow after a storm. You are our bright light after our time of darkness. And yet, despite being so happy, I was scared to do it all again. I was so scared of losing you. I am battling daily anxiety throughout this pregnancy, but I know that God is watching you. And you even have a personal angel brother who will look after you, protect you. I am living my days in the hope of meeting you, little man. Emmanuel, I wanted to be emotionally well for you, but it was hard for me to be happy as well as live my life as a grieving mother at the same time. I was struggling to move on and moreover, scared of forgetting Jayden and his memories. I don't know what I would have done without your dad. He was so kind and patient. He supported me throughout the time. He took care of both of us. That made me realize that I am a mummy of 4, and I have all the energy to love all of my children. That was a moment that I stopped being upset about Jayden, stopped worrying about you, and just started to love all 4 of you in the same way I would have done if Jayden was here too. And then, at some point, my anxiety turned into joy. Baby, you came into our lives so fast, and I understand that God's plans are very clear here. I realize that if Jayden's incident didn't happen, we wouldn't have met you. I can't wait to hold you in my arms. Mummy, Daddy, your sisters, and your older brother loves you so much. Thank you for being mine. I love you. I love you. I love you so much.